of how skillfully the narrative is built against us and how weakly we assemble our own narrative with very particular examples. I'm engaged literally at this very moment in high-level conversations with the BBC because we made allegations that they are anti-Hindu, anti-India in a manner which is biased and prejudiced and policy. And so a team was put together by BBC featuring their very senior-most executives, and we presented records and evidence to them. And they have come back in classic BBC fashion with policy statements, editorial opportunities, etc., all of those things. And so we're now engaging with them, but we're going to really press them on the discrepancies in their narrative. In fact, if I can show you one right now, I can just, is that okay, Sanjayji? Technically, can I just share a screen?
You can share the screen. Yeah, you can share the screen.
So perhaps, can you see this?
Yes.
So this was one of the examples I gave to the Director General of the BBC, and we've had conversations about this, where if you look at the BBC's messaging, you have the word Hindu chant and murder in the same phrase. So we said, you're building a narrative, and the narrative is connecting those two words together. And they responded to us saying, no, we actually are fair, and we use the same process in every other reporting. Now, what I showed to them was the reporting to do with the Manchester suicide bomb incident in the United Kingdom. And what I showed, I said, okay, have a look at this scenario here. We have lots and lots of reporting, and the phrase Allahu Akbar was actually used during the attacks. But nowhere does it mention Islam. Nowhere does it mention murders. Nowhere in all of the reporting does it actually mention anything which will connect a religion with violence. And yet straight away, with the one that we had for that one incident, I think, where it was connected, that in that incident somebody heard Jai Shri Ram and they pieced this together. This is biased narrative building. And another thing, have a look at this as an example. I don't know whether you've heard yet, but 215 bodies have been found in the evangelical missionary schools in Canada. Now, all of these schools were actually run by Catholics or by Anglicans. And what they did is they took 150,000 children away from their native indigenous parents and families at the age of 4 until the age of 18, and then they built a narrative into their thinking. But you can see in all of these articles, not one mentions Christian. Not one mentions Catholic. It's all 200 bodies, mass graves at Canadian, Indian, etc. Again, this is managing the narrative. And this narrative is so well established, it's so much a part of the way in which anything India does is rebutted, is challenged, and is drowned out. We have to recognize that this is the reality before we can then work on how to challenge this. And these are horrific examples. And you can see that not only do they do it in detail, but they then amplify it right across the whole globe, crying editorial freedom of speech, etc., etc. So there is a clear bias. There is a clear narrative which is already in place against Bharat. There is a established world order which does not really benefit from seeing a strong Bharat. It doesn't benefit from seeing a Bharat which can articulate a point of view. It doesn't benefit from seeing a strong BJP or a strong Hindu presence. And that narrative is the real battleground. That narrative is going to be there every single time India makes any change. When UCC comes in, it's going to be interesting to see how the media in this country flip that as being anti every other minority. They won't talk equalities. They won't say, oh yes, this makes a level playing field. It will be persecution. We will see the phrase Hindutva everywhere. We will see all sorts of right-wing fascist messaging, and that is what happens. And this is what we have to now put into place if we are going to get, if we're going to take advantage of the incredible opportunity that Prime Minister Modi ji and the BJP have earned.